Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and many people complain about the oil palm plantations in the Southeast Asian jungle. Well, while other people complain, we are taking action, cutting down the oil palms.
Be careful of the spines.
Oh yeah, but those things, they sure are fighting back with their big spines. And no, we are not here to destroy a commercial oil palm plantation. We are here to get food, to get tasty heart of palm. And today we have chosen to do this from an oil palm. This is Mr. Ringus, the owner of this orchard here, and he has been so kind to allow us to harvest this oil palm. Don't worry, she's a strong one, pretty girl. The way to the oil palm patch is not far, but it is beautiful. Here going through the wet paddy or the rice fields grown in water, which contrasts to the more typical rice fields around here, which are grown on steep slopes. And right now they are not grown in water. My host told me, yeah, they kind of need to dry already to start forming the grains. A couple young sago trees in the background. And here my friend Ringus, who is gonna help us cut down the palm tree. My old nemesis, Britches. Ringus weighs 45 kilograms, I weigh just shy of 100. Basically, I weigh a lot more in kilograms than he weighs in pounds. And those bridges, they are not made for people my size. So every time I do not film myself crossing a bridge, it collapses. So now, my secret weapon against those bridges is, I film every crossing, and whenever I film, the bridges do not collapse. See? Quod erat demonstrandum. This area might look to you like jungle, but it's actually old orchards. The young people in the villages nowadays, they don't like to do a lot of farming, and so the orchards are not being maintained that much. And also once the trees reach a certain size, you don't do a lot of maintenance. You just come during the harvest time and collect the fruits off the ground. Or a couple super fit people like Mr. Ringus, they still climb the trees. This man is much older than me, but like 10 times stronger and fitter. Well, much older than me and not even half my size, but much stronger and fitter than me. We have arrived at a location in his orchard with a lot of palm trees. The ones in the water are the sago trees. Your turn is tomorrow. Today we're gonna cut the oil palm. Did you plant them here, or did they come with birds or something?
Where? The oil palm.
Did you plant it here?
I planted.
You planted because you like to eat the fruits?
No, for the stem.
To take the vegetable. So Mr. Ringus does not have an oil palm plantation where he collects the nuts or the fruits and sells them for oil production. He just planted a couple oil palms in his orchard for the exact purpose we are here today, to collect the vegetable inside. Be careful when we start. Palm trees are usually full of scorpions and spiders and other things. Correct, boss? A lot of scorpions hide between the leaf sheets. Here, by the way, you can see the difference between a stupid white man and the locals. Look at me. I'm naked in the tropical sun, which just disappeared. But Ibu here, who is harvesting manioc, and by the way, many cultures use only half of the usable manioc plant. They use only the tubers. And this one
already.
is this still too young?
Red already.
Oh, the red already. Yeah. This one doesn't have many tubers because the red already got most of them. But don't despair. They have a second edible part of the manioc. The leaves are very popular here and are being harvested much more often. However, what I want to show you now is, look at the stupid white man, exposed to the tropical sun, his skin burning, a lot of jungle plants touching his skin and destroying it. Like, see this very clever white man here? What happened to him just a couple days ago when this is not a spine, this is not an eagle that scratched him, he just touched the wrong plant. Here behind us is, for example, a species of marking nut, a close relative of mangoes, cashews, and poison ivy. It just touched his skin, maybe some sap went on the skin, and now it's bleeding and everything is being dissolved. Also, of course, there's spiny things everywhere. Look at this innocently looking pineapple. It's actually like a saw blade. You touch it too hard with your naked leg, you get a trace on your leg. Also in the jungle there are a lot of viruses, fungi, parasites and other things. And it makes a big difference if they splash on your naked skin or if they splash on your clothing. Ibu, can I show you how you go to the jungle or how you go to the garden? She is not even going to the jungle now, she is going to her field, to her garden. Look at it, rubber boots, thick long pants, several layers of shirts, gloves. Then she has some sort of little sweatshirt around her face to protect every single inch of exposed skin. Often they even cover their mouth and their nose, which are open in her case now. Then she has dark glasses, a big bathroom towel on her head, and a big sun hat. As I said, sometimes they even cover their face, all their mouth and their nose. And I used to walk around like this all the time in the jungle, scratched up all the time, and I got a lot of infections and I got a lot of very strange skin conditions which I didn't know where they came from. And then fortunately those nice people showed me jungle medicine, showed me herbs from the jungle and from the garden you can use against those conditions. But it's still better not to get burned. And now I don't walk around like this, but actually I do have a couple clothes with me. I do use a hat, I do use long pants, I do use long sleeves. Also, instead of going barefoot or using flip-flops, I got Adidas Kampung, the local rubber shoes. Why do they wear rubber shoes and not some nice leather shoes? Because leather shoes in this tropical climate give you the infamous trench foot, which killed tens of thousands of soldiers in World War I in the trenches. When you're in constantly wet conditions, you need some rubber stuff which you can wash quickly and it dries quickly. Or even rubber boots, which will protect you even better than the short rubber shoes. So it took me a couple of years in the jungle to learn from the locals, but finally I'm already halfway there. And now you might ask, well, in the old pictures, in the old movies, like the people in tropical countries, they usually walk around like half naked. Usually they just have something around the waist, they don't have many clothes. And I know that they are able here to produce clothes from tree bark and other materials, but they are not being used nowadays except for folklore festivals. But they were able to produce those for many thousands of years. And I asked them, why didn't you have all those clothes 40, 50 years ago? They say, well, the clothes from the bark, if you dye them and then they get wet from your sweat, from the rain, the dye comes off. They are not true to color. Also, they are not very comfortable, they are itchy, they are scratchy. So those clothes from tree bark, they are better than no clothes, but you don't want to be completely covered with them. And modern clothes, 40, 50 years ago when Malaysia was still pretty poor, They were very expensive, and those people, they tell me stories all the time how they didn't have enough to eat. Do you think they would spend their last money for expensive clothes to go to the garden, to the jungle and rip them into pieces? Now they can buy clothes for more or less affordable prices, and now when they have the choice, they go to the jungle like this. And so should you. Don't go like a stupid white man, but go like intelligent local people with decades of experience in the jungle and in the on the farm, and thousands and tens of thousands of years of experience of their peoples. And yeah, you're gonna survive longer in the jungle, and it's gonna be much more comfortable than being completely scratched up and having all those parasites and fungi and viruses on your skin and getting your skin burnt off by crazy poisonous jungle plants. Okay, cut. We have brought a big international team, Bulgarian, Swiss, Italian, what was the other one? Something from the stands, from very far away, and of course Mr. Ingas from the Bidayu people of Borneo. And like pretty much always when you harvest oil palm, when you harvest any heart of palm, the first step is to get rid of the leaves and the petioles, so that you are able to access the stem and thus the edible heart. Heart of palm is a very important resource, of course a very important resource for farming communities, but also a very important survival resource in the jungle. Of course here the next food stall is less than a kilometer away, and of course this is not a native species, but when you're in the jungle you might think you can survive on wild fruits, durians, mangoes and so on. I'll think again. There is a thing here called the fruit season. It usually lasts just for a couple weeks, and then you have many months during which there are very few fruits. And if you cannot climb 40-50 meters up the trees, here we have 20-25 meter high trees in this kind of old orchard, but in the jungle the trees are about twice as high, and the monkeys can climb much better than you. So for about 10 months of the year you will actually get almost no fruits. Also, there is not much herbaceous vegetation on the ground which you can forage. Also, bamboo is not so common in the deep jungle around here. It was mostly planted around old villages. So basically your main resource are palm trees. The sago tree is the best of them. Inside this stem there is about 1 ton of edible starch. Basically it looks like white wheat flour, and you can also eat the heart of the sago tree, and you can also eat the fruits. And somewhere behind there should be the huge sago palm we cut down last year. But since I've never cut down an oil palm before, that's what we're gonna eat today. However, this plentiful food doesn't come for free. We are 3 strong men, well, 2 strong men and 1 big fat white man, and all 3 of us have extensive experience in farming, jungle survival, and work with parangs and similar tools. And for the last 10 minutes we've been hacking away at this tree, and we are not even finished in removing the leaves. We haven't even started digging into the stem yet. The termites have made their nests in this palm tree. Well, all the stuff they have brought here, all this soft material, it's not gonna make our work any easier. And if they have brought any soil, of course this is gonna blunten our parangs and axes. But for now they are still sharp enough, I guess. However, maybe I should stop filming and chopping away at the leaves at the same time.
When did you
Ringa said he planted this tree almost 20 years ago. Normally oil palms would grow much faster, but I think here with the shade and competition by all the other trees, it grows much smaller. If somebody had asked me, I would have said 4 years. If this was in an oil palm plantation, how many years until it gets that big?
In oil palm plantation, I think 2 years already big as this.
2 years. So I didn't want
Fertilizer.
I didn't want to say anything under 5 years, but he says, so 2 years in the oil palm plantation, but here, without fertilizer and without the surrounding trees, almost 20 years. We are in deep trouble. The big holes of most probably the palm weevil, or could it be the sago palm worm? Which one do you think it is, the sago palm or the other worm?
I think the other one.
The other worm. That's sad. That means that a large part, maybe most of the heart, will be compromised. And the way this tree shakes with every hit of the parang tells me that the stem might not be too strong. See? Ringas is chopping away at the leaf bases and see how the tree shakes. Seeing something like this in a sago tree wouldn't be a problem, because the sago nowadays, nobody around here would harvest it for the sago starch or even for the heart of the sago palm because it's bitter. They harvest it for the sago worm, a very valuable big worm the size of my finger that lives in here. It's tasty, edible and highly priced by the different peoples of Borneo. However, the invasive palm weevil, which is destroying parks and plantations and also native palm groves throughout the world, is not that highly priced. Oh, a good sized spider. No scorpion yet, but a good sized spider already. For cutting down the palm itself, we use an axe. We could do it with the parangs. And if we are somewhere far in the jungle in a small group, there is a good chance nobody has an axe with them, because the parang is the go-to tool here. The axe is like the chainsaw, is just an additional tool. But since we are near the village and don't have to schlep this axe for several days, we can be quite a lot faster with it. It has some disadvantages when cutting down the leaves, because with the parang, you can hit anywhere on a stretch like this. With the axe, you have to hit precisely, and also it's difficult to get it out again. So for this, mi cojones! So for the leaves, we use the parang, because now I made even more of a fool of myself than when I was doing it with the parang. But for the much thicker stem and for the bases of the leaf sheets, we use this axe with the ancient ironwood stem. However, this ancient ironwood handle, I don't know how long it can stand the stupidity of a fat white man, because it looks like I'm already destroying it. And I'm still quite far from even reaching the stem of the palm. I'm still fighting my way through the leaf bases and through the termite dirt. And of course, this is a fruit channel, but remember, the oil palm trees are grown for their fruits. The heart of palm is just a small side product, and since I've made already a couple videos about the oil palm nuts, about the oil palm nuts. Now it's time to make one about the heart of the oil palm. So folks, since we found the weevil in here, for us, okay, this might be like a little bit of a problem. We might lose part of the vegetable, or in the worst case, we might lose everything. When we cut on the big sago palm that was behind this medium-sized one, it was rotten inside, so we lost all the sago, but we didn't need much sago. However, imagine this is attacking the oil palm. There are billions of those oil palms throughout Southeast Asia. And even though Europeans like to protest a lot against the oil palms, this is the oil that feeds the world. Not your rapeseed, not your sunflower. Those are important, yes. But for 8 billion people to be more or less decently provided with cooking oil and oil for cosmetics and stuff, you need this. And yes, I know they destroy the jungle on a large scale. But if those palms disappear, that's very bad for mankind, for the feeding of those 8 billion people. Also, they will not just disappear, but thousands of tons of pesticides will be spread on those plantations to save the palms from the weevil, which means nature will be polluted and we're gonna get more polluted palm oil, because palm oil is everywhere. If you think, oh, I'm living in a European country and I'm not using palm oil, yes, you are using palm oil for so many things you don't know. Also, people here complain there are almost no fish left in the rivers because they use so many pesticides, for example, in the rice fields. Imagine they have to kill this weevil in the oil palm plantations. And that's just the problem with the oil palm. It also attacks the coconut tree, as I said. Coconuts are also incredibly important for the sustenance of people in tropical areas. It also attacks the date palm. Dates are also a very important staple. It also attacks all those millions of palms in parks and along city roads, all the way from southern Europe to Australia. Imagine those millions of city trees everywhere have to be cut down. How ugly our cities will be, how much work this will be, how many cars and people they are gonna smash. So an invasive insect that destroys palm trees of many different genera around the world is not just a small nuisance, basically it's a significant threat to mankind, I would say. Speaking of invasives, the apple snail, one of the most invasive species in the world, lives in water and puts its eggs on structures above the water, destroying the water ecosystems, but at least it's edible. Although some people, especially in urban areas, avoid to eat it because it likes to live in the water, and the water in urban areas is often called sewer. Here in the village they eat it, because they have a lot of reasonably clean water where it can live. I know what it looks like. It's not what it looks like. Timber, or shall I rather say sayur, which is the local word for vegetable. Oh, nice big black spider. Be careful with this one. Is this poisonous or is it harmless?
Is this your first time?
This species, yes.
Which other species?
Oh, many. So, this was what? Over half an hour. 3 guys and a small Italian war machine cutting away at this thing. And if you think the work is done, nope. The work is just starting. This might be plentiful food in the jungle, but it's by no means easily obtained wood. Here. Let's see if he cuts too low. Nope, we didn't. Sweet and tasty, but incredibly fibrous. Can you make good sago from this palm? It's not good for sago. Otherwise, I guess everywhere where there's an oil palm industry, there would also be a sago industry. With this sago palm here, which does produce edible nuts and an edible heart of palm like the old palm, but the nuts in the heart of palm are not very highly priced. But the sago in the stem is. So this palm, I'm sure you could also produce sago, but it doesn't seem to be economically or culinarily sensible to do this.
Be careful your leg.
Oops. Yes, be careful your leg. That was a very good. Yeah. Survival rate of stupid white men in the jungle is not very high. Tired. After much over an hour, how long did we work on this? 1 hour, 1 hour and 15 minutes? Longer?
I think.
Longer? Okay, let's say 1.5 hours of hard work, and suddenly Ringe says, I think this is already destroyed by the bugs. Look at that. And the termites have made their nests in here, and everything doesn't really look like the inside of a palm tree should look like. You know what sunken cost fallacy is? We already invested so much work into this one, we don't want to let it go. So we decided to split it through the middle and see whether we can salvage anything. Instead of just calling it a day and buying some nice Chinese potatoes in the supermarket. the ringus is bringing some sticks to pry it apart. Affa. Huh? Why? Falcon man never gives up. Maybe turn around. Cut this. use it, or you think not? You want to use this? Sounds good. The axe is getting blunt already. We're almost done.
Single nice one.
Anybody got a parang? This doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Old and fibrous.
It's already destroyed by the birds.
The white part? No, still too fibrous.
So hard.
So hard.
So hard.
Yeah. 20 years of waiting and then what? 2 hours of work? In a survival situation, I would totally eat it. It's certain fibrous, but you can't chew it and get some nutrients out of it. But imagine in a survival situation, no food, no clean water, and thus using our last strength on this big chunk of food, which is a failure. Or in old village settings, many people working quite long on such a big palm and then finding out that it's rotten. Okay, it was a very interesting experiment. The next days we plan to cut a couple other palm species and eat them. This one unfortunately didn't work out, but it was fun enough. Now let's go back and eat the supermarket food. Tell me your experience with hearts of palm and oil palms and palm weevils, folks. Apart from that, stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful and incredibly fruit and veggie rich gardens and orchards of Mr. Ringas in Pichin village in Borneo. And of course, don't forget to not overexert yourself. Like, share, comment and subscribe.